Hello. I'm gonna try to be quiet. It's pretty late. I got home from work not too long ago. It's about 1:57 a.m. and there's other people sleeping, so yeah. Anyway, for the past week, I've been getting back into the swing of invading. I am approaching the end of my Network Plus textbook, doing pretty well with practice tests. I'm feeling fairly confident that I'll do well on the actual exam, so I'm beginning to partition a little extra time for video games lately. Coming back to Invasions after not doing much at all for the last couple weeks, I decided to try out two new builds at mid-range rune levels instead of low levels. I love low-level invasions. They're some of the most fun I've had while invading, but I feel like I've seen so much of Stormvale and Morn Castle at this point that I could really do with a change of scenery. So I spent the past week invading around RL 80, and part of something new that I'm trying out is getting more involved with casting. Of course, I was born with sticks in my hands, mind you, so I think I'll probably always have some sort of right-hand whacking tool on every build, but there's still like a lot of spells that I think are really cool that don't get much attention unless people really go out of their way to use them, which I guess is sort of what I'm doing now, but I don't know, whatever. I'm just using whatever I want, like always. Anyway, coming back to Invasions with a couple spell blades of varying flavors has been, in some cases, extremely fun, and in a lot of cases, just awful. I mean, I don't think I've struggled this much in Invasions since the great patch 1.05 depression. I mean, it's been rough the past week. And there's been a number of times this past week where I just felt really discouraged from trying out any build that wasn't armed to the teeth with hyper armor and DPS. Plenty of times where I was unhappy about the state of multiplayer in Elden Ring. You know how it is. Like when you get nothing but trash invasions and you just get down in the dumps and you're like, oh man, everything in this game is terrible and I hate it. You know what I mean? And you begin to turn into one of those doomers. Anyway, yeah, invading this past week has mostly just sucked. Of course, there is the timeless adage of, if it sucks, hit the bricks. You know what I mean? If it sucks, get out of there. Just do something else. And that tactic works well. Sometimes. I mean, I myself have taken breaks from invading and come back feeling much better and having fun again. But the problem is that sometimes I can't hit the bricks. You know what I mean? Taking breaks is great, but it doesn't change the fact that I still want to play this game. The difference is that there are times when I want to play this game and it's great and fun, and there are times when I want to play the game but I wish that the game was different, or that I wish invasions were different, or multiplayer was different, or what have you. Because sometimes those things are just bad, particularly invasions. Sometimes invasions are just bad. That's all there is to it. Some days you get non-stop trash invasions, and the only thing you achieve, really, is higher blood pressure. And that's pretty much been my past week with invading. Obviously, I still love invading, and I still love fighting random people in giant chaotic situations, and I am always going to invade. I am going to keep doing it forever, right? But I don't want to take a break right now. I want to keep going, you know? I think the game has such a unique multiplayer experience that no other game has. So I decided last night, actually, to try something different. Since everyone else's parties last night were lame, I decided to throw my own party. I took my new build to the beginning of Lanedale, turned on the furled finger, picked up the first honest-looking gold sign I saw, and activated the Taunter's Tongue. And I gotta say, from that point on, it was a hoot. It was fantastic. I was like, okay, if I can't find any good invasions right now, then I'll just make my own. The result was that I had a fun way to progress through a level that I had done a million times before, and other invaders who might have also been strapped for good invasions finally could get a good invasion. Pretty much, I decided last night that I would actively play through the level the way that I wished every host would play through the level, right? So I had one gold phantom for each run, and I left the Taunter's Tongue active so that any invader that got in could get a co-invader, and regardless of what happened, or how the fights went, or if my gold died, or if I was in the middle of a giant mob, I would keep fighting through the level until I got to the next grace point. And it was a ton of fun. And I will 100% be doing this sort of thing again for different parts of the game. And you know, it's pretty amazing, really. More often than not, whenever I find myself down and out with this game, there is at least some form of an answer to my problem. It's not necessarily perfect or really even a good answer, but there is an answer, right? Similarly, with Armored Core, there was a boss in that game whose mechanics just totally destroyed me in the end game. I spent like a whole day fighting it, and eventually I just brute forced my way through the boss with big guns, but I still didn't learn anything when I got through it. And I just sort of thought that the boss was quote-unquote bad, right? Or that I just couldn't like the boss, I couldn't have fun with it because maybe it required a different play style that I didn't enjoy. However, anyone with any semblance of self-awareness knows that that is usually not true. A friend of mine gave me some advice on how to fight the boss more effectively, and after going back and trying again, I totally understood how it worked, and I had a great time with the fight. So yeah, like always, stepping outside the shade of my own ineptitude reveals something brilliant. In the case of only having bad invasions, at first I was like under the mindset that if I wasn't invading or playing specifically with my friends, then I wouldn't have fun. But as soon as I broke out of that loop and tried something different, I had a blast. If I can't find good invasions, then I'll make my own. And that's about it for this video. I'll be making a couple more videos before long about my 2 new characters and the concepts behind them, but I wanted to make this first because it just felt more important, I guess. Still working on music, like always. I'm aiming to have the EP totally finished by sometime in December, and like on streaming platforms and stuff. Well, platforms, specifically Spotify. I probably won't put it on other platforms, but whatever. Bandcamp, obviously, but that's a no-brainer. That said, I hope y'all get out there and have some good invasions. Hope you find some good invasions or find some good fights, or do whatever it is you do to make your own fun. Until later, Take care, guys.